All right, I'm going to tell you why Sam Altman and OpenAI are absolutely freaking out right now, or at least they should be, because DeepSeek from China has really just upped the competition in a huge way. And I'm going to talk about a few things that honestly nobody's really focusing on, and just I want to talk about how big of a deal this is. So stay tuned for this one. All right. So, first of all, they're absolutely ruining OpenAI's business model. It's free to use if you go on deepseek.com. You just sign up for an account. It looks the same. You're right in there, no problem with your email. It's 27 times cheaper for the API use than OpenAI is if you want to use it for a different application. It's open source, and the thinking model R1 compared to ChatGPT's O1 model are pretty much the same. So that's OpenAI's best thing is way cheaper now already for DeepSeek. So even if DeepSeek pretty much copied the whole thing, which a lot of people are saying, they did it within 2 months of release, and it's already way cheaper, open source. Um, so a lot of people are saying, why use OpenAI? Why pay the money, the $20 a month, $200 a month? Or if you're building on top of it, uh, DeepSeek, you can alter it, you can tweak it, and then it's also way cheaper to use. So why pay OpenAI a penny? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and this is what people aren't talking about as much. So it's not just cheaper in the sense that they're being nice or trying to gain market share and not charging for it. There's a bigger, more serious reason, and that is it is far more efficient. It only costs them about $6 million, which is nothing when you're looking at billions of dollars to build this. So it costs them way less to build and run this. So it's not just cheap. And this part being so cheap in and of itself is a huge innovation that ChatGPT can't copy. So as an example, imagine if Tesla comes out with a $10,000 robot that's incredible. It's probably going to be more than that, 30 or 40,000 they're hoping. So imagine this. It's incredible, does everything, does the dishes, does all your housework, goes to the store for you, whatever. It's $10,000. And then 2 months later, China comes out and says, here's the same thing for $10. Okay. Now, the thing is, it's not just cheaper. You can imagine that it would cost the Chinese a lot less to build the robot, meaning you literally can't compete with it because people do obviously care about money. So, like DeepSeek is charging not only less than OpenAI is charging, they're charging less than OpenAI than it like for the API than it even costs OpenAI. So they cannot compete with this unless they do it in a more efficient way. And this is despite the huge sanctions that the US put on China because they know there's this AI race. They don't want the Chinese taking over. But China's using only 2,000 for this DeepSeek model, 2,000 H800s, which are nowhere near as good as the H100s from NVIDIA. It's like an older, slower chip. And they're using, the other ones are using often 16,000 H100. So each chip is much better. They're using like these old nothing chips. Like imagine doing this with a computer of 10 years ago versus the modern day one. So there's a massive difference. So these sanctions have basically forced China to innovate because they're constricted. They have these constraints on the type of chips they're allowed to use. So they've been creative in that sense of making it, how do you make the same quality starting with something less? So that caused them to innovate. So this is evidence, and I've heard this before from one other guy, but the sanctions in this case actually backfired because it forced them to innovate and make something cheaper by orders of magnitude and better. So you can't just copy it if you don't have the same ingredients. So they're forced to innovate in that sense. And now, OpenAI, Google, like Google's Gemini, Claude, they only know how to make these things if you're spending billions. They don't know how to do this yet. So the problem is ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, they have no moat now. You can't just make something great that costs billions of dollars and then like nobody else can compete with you. Because as soon as you put something out there, it's going to be copied. So there's nothing preventing future copying of new techniques. So as soon as OpenAI releases their next innovation, then they're going to be afraid, and rightly so, that DeepSeek or these other Chinese companies are just going to learn from it, reverse engineer it, make it in a cheaper way, make it open source, share all the reasoning, share everything, and just give it away. So, why bother? And in this competition, to go up to the second point here, it's much worse than the competition from Gemini or Claude, because these companies are making it in a similar way. They're all charging similar prices, give or take. They're not orders of magnitude difference, like $20 a month, and API costs are in the same range. So even if OpenAI loses market share to the other ones, it's not night and day. They'll just, maybe they'll have 40, 50% instead of 80%, which is a huge difference, but it's not like this totally different pricing model that DeepSeek has. So that's the fear. And now, the US with the government has announced that they're putting $500 billion, which is an insane number. This is like the biggest investment of all time anywhere, into this huge chip, or not huge, this huge data center in Texas. But the fear is, like, what if China just doesn't need to make data centers like that? I mean, it's really something to think about. Or if they can get a lot more out of the same amount of money. So this is a huge thing, not just for these companies losing so much, but just the countries losing. So it's a very interesting time to think about these different, what do you call it? The models and the whole AI race. So it's good to be a consumer of it, and you can try using these different ones. Okay, so two things here just at the end here. Check out our new software that makes incredible photos. The one on the right here's a photo of me that's AI generated. You can put them, like, I could be in a suit doing anything, playing a sport, whatever. You can use them for your personal brand, or use them for LinkedIn, or if you ever need headshots. This lady here is like our AI influencer. It's one of them. You can make photos of her. We're going to be making a Shopify app soon that you can, if you have a Shopify store, you can, there's all kinds of things you can do with your product, make these AI product photos that are absolutely incredible with custom AI models. You can start with a free account, just sign up with your email. That's easy. And then also, you want to join our email list. I'm going to put a link in the description if you want to learn more about AI and earning money with AI and staying ahead of the game and following all the stuff that we are doing here, including our software and everything. So hope you enjoyed that one. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.